Hey guys, welcome back to my page. My name is Steph, and we're continuing our series on Intro to Python. Today we're going to talk about variables. You might be wondering what's a variable and what does it have to do with this? Well, a variable is basically just a placeholder for information. We can manually import information into a variable and store it that way, or we could set the variable to user input, so we'll leave it up to the user to put in whatever they want stored. I'm going to show you how to do both, but the first step, open up Trinket.io. Alright guys, so our first step in creating variables is we have to name them. The best thing you can do for yourself is keep it short and sweet. The more obvious the name of your variable, the better, because once you start getting into long lines of code, if the name isn't obvious, it's just going to get confusing and you're not going to remember what's even stored in there. So this one's going to be extremely clear. I'm going to title this one age. Now we want to store information in age, so we're going to set it equal to the information. Use the equal sign, and I'm storing integers in here, so I'll put in 23. We already have one variable created now. If we go down a line, we're going to create another. This one is going to be titled name. So we want to store something in name, therefore we're going to set it equal sign in there. And this time we're actually going to store a string of text. This is one of the rules you have to remember is if you want to print a string of text, you have to use quotation marks around it. Otherwise, it's not going to know what you're trying to do. It's not going to run. It's going to come up as an error. So, for example, if we go ahead and try that, it's going to say there's an error because step is not defined. Let's backspace. Let's use our quotation marks. Steph. We'll run that. And you might think, what's happening? There's nothing coming out over here. Well, we're only storing the information in the variables yet. We haven't commanded it to give us output or anything. So this stuff is all just there waiting to be used. Our next step, if you want to see if it worked or not, you want to try out your print function we learned last day. Print, and then let's say age, and then go ahead and run that. That worked amazing. The next thing we're going to learn is how to print those two things on the same line. So no matter what, we're going to start off with print, but now we want to print age and name. To print two things, you're going to end up putting a plus sign in the middle of it because you're printing name and you're also adding age to that line of text. So print, let's put in age plus name. But keep in mind, we're trying to combine an integer and a string of text. Let's see what happens when we try this. There we go. Alright, so we ran into an issue here. The way we can fix this, so first read what your error says. It's telling us we can't do integer and strings on the same line. So let's backspace. One way to bypass this is we're going to claim that our integer is actually a string. So print, the little acronym for string is str, put in brackets, age, plus, now put in name, and let's see if that worked. Look at that, amazing. Now if you don't want just 23 Steph to print like that, we can add more strings of text. So we're gonna go ahead, say print, and then we want to say my name is, do a space and a colon. You see how we use our brackets and our quotations. We learned this last day. Come out of that. space, let's do a plus, name. So what we're doing is we're printing a string of text. It's going to say our name. Then we're going to print another string of text. So bracket, quotation, my age is plus, oh, and then don't forget it's a string age. All right, go ahead and run that. My name is Steph. My age is 23. Perfect. All right, we're starting off with a blank canvas there now. I'm going to teach you how to store user input in a variable. So I'm going to go ahead and reuse my same variable names, age, and then we're setting it equal to something, but this time we're setting it equal to user input. So we have to tell them, we have to say that. We're going to say input and bracket quotation because we want to prompt the user to input their age. If we don't say anything there, they won't know what to put in. They might put in their favorite color, who knows. So we're going to ask them, what is your age? Perfect, all right, and we have our quotation and our bracket to finish it off. And let's go ahead with our second variable name. Input again. There we go. What is your name? All right, awesome. So we've got that set. Let's give that a run. And to your right, you're going to see that we're prompted to say what our name is. Or sorry, it's asking us what our age is. So 23. You can click enter. It's going to give us our next prompt. What is your name? Steph. All right, and unfortunately that's as far as it's going to take us because we didn't ask anything else. If we go down a few lines, we can print this though. So print, and then we're going to print age and plus, because if we want to print multiple variables, multiple strings of text, anything, we use the plus sign to add it to that same line, okay? So print age plus name. If we run that now, we're starting from the top, 23, Steph, and there we go, it all printed for us. All right, perfect. So now we want to print both of these variables with a string of text to tell the user this is your name and this is your age. Right off the bat, we go print, but this time we're first going to add a string of text. Every time we print any text, we do bracket and quotation marks. We're going to say your name is perfect plus, because we want this all to print in the same line, we're going to print our variable name, which doesn't need any brackets or quotation marks because it's already a defined variable at this point, plus bracket quotation, and I'm going to put a space here because if I don't, name and the string of text I'm about to type, these are going to be mushed together into one basically because it's only going to run exactly what you tell it to run. It's not going to make any accommodations or guesses as to what you mean to say. So keep that in mind when you're doing your codes. Now we want to say you are, and we're going to do a space before that quotation. Perfect. Let's do a plus sign, and let's say our variable age, one more plus sign, bracket, quotation, space, so we are not all mushed into one, years old. All right, let's give that a go. You're gonna hit run, and all right, they're prompting us 23, Steph. Your name is Steph. You are 23 years old. Amazing. All right, good job, guys. Don't forget, we're going to title this project and we're going to say variable exercise and save. All right, thanks so much for following along, guys. We'll see you next time.